Kris, can we take do some housekeeping out of the gate with Robbie Yarviente? I noticed that he was not on the ice today. Looks like he was in crutches. What's happened there?
Yeah, he just wasn't ready for camp. He really wanted to push through and be out there for camp. We decided it was best for him just to get some treatment. He won't be ready for at least a week, and it's the knee that he had surgery on isn't the problem. It's his other leg just overcompensating. So it's just he should be ready to be on the ice in 1 or 2 weeks, but unfortunately he's just not ready for day one.
Were the Hoffman and Weatherby additions via PTO here in partial response to maybe being down a couple bodies and forwards?
Well, yes and no. I think we added 2 quality players with NHL experience that can push our group and have an opportunity to make this team. But yes, it had a little bit to do with being short of body too.
Kris, how would you sort of characterize the search for a D partner for Darnell Nurse this upcoming season? You've got some candidates there, clearly some new guys to look at, but what's the sense of urgency to find some synergy there?
That is an important factor of camp through exhibition to find that ideal partner. But I think first thing that needs to be done is find the best player or best players to make this team, and not necessarily find the best partner for Darnell first. We want to find out who's the best to make this team. We've got several guys that have an opportunity to do that. And then once we find out which players, then we'll find out the partner. So I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves and say we need to find that partner for Darnell right away. And because also Darnell's not going to play the first few exhibition games. He'll probably sit out the couple just with his rehab. And maybe later on in the exhibition, then we'll be really seeing who his partner should be.
But with that said, you got to write someone's name down. Ty Emberson was the name there.
Ty was the guy today. We'll talk about it after, and we might switch it up. I don't want to get too set on he's our guy in this spot, or same with lines, deep pairs. But Ty had the first opportunity to play with Darnell.
You mentioned that you don't want to get too into the lines and deep pairings that were out there today. But you did have the 2 new guys in Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson with Leon Draisaitl. What do you think those 2 can do to help that line?
Well, I think the most important thing is just being able to get the puck in Darnell, or we were just talking about Leon's hands. Those skilled players, you want to get them and being able to make plays, and that's first thing. Being able to get in on the forward check. Another thing, scoring goals. But I think with their experience and just their ability to play hockey, they're good quality NHL players, and they've had successful careers. I think they'll just complement Leon's game a lot, and again, they're going to complement. They're going to be good players for our team. Right now, they are playing with Leon, but maybe next week it might be somebody else. But we're adding 2 good quality players. They're going to help our team.
What are your first impressions on Matthew Savoy?
I thought he had a really good day. I was able to go to the rookie tournament. Got to see him play for the 2 first games. You can tell he's a smart player, can score goals, great shots. I think he's a player that can complement skilled players. Now, is he NHL ready? He has the skills. Is there other parts of his game that he has to add to be ready for the NHL? We'll find out through camp, and especially through the exhibition games. He'll have a great opportunity to get a lot of ice time and playing opportunities.
Kris, just a couple of questions on your first training camp as an NHL head coach. How much are you drawing on your past experiences as an assistant in a time like this? And also, what are you looking to implement and succeed in terms of the next few weeks in NHL training camp?
Well, you always, this is a time to do a lot of teaching. And we want to do our teaching in the video room, telling them this is exactly what we're doing, and then we have a lot of drills specifically designed to implement those systems. I've been to training camps where they've been extremely hard, where you're almost killing the guys and it ends up being a lot of injuries. I've been to training camps where there's a lot of teaching. It's really slow. It's painful for the players. So it's kind of a little bit of both, where we're trying to keep the tempo upbeat and players moving, but being out there with a purpose, and we're not just killing them. I don't believe he will be playing any exhibition games. I believe he has to see his surgeon, get the clearance before he can play. So I don't believe that'll happen before our exhibition games are over.
Todd Colson, he said, and Flynn Vancouver said, it was one of the things that held him back was confidence. He was thinking more than reacting to playing. As a head coach, how do you take on that project?
I just building up confidence in them. Tell them the things that they are doing well, encouraging that, because often players are doing more good than bad. Coaches tend to point out the bad, and they feel that they're doing more bad than good. So, he's new, and we've got to spend some time with him, with the captain skates. Got to see him a little bit. Today, my first day with him on the ice. I think he's an exceptional young player. I think he's got a lot of promise. You saw that in his rookie year, how well he played. Things didn't go as well since that first year, but we feel that we can build him up and get that same game that he, early when he showed a lot of the promise.
Sorry about that. Going back to the training camp, of course you came in partway through last season in November trying to implement the changes that you sought out. Can you maybe talk about the platform you have as a head coach to now be able to take your time in doing what you said, teaching these players and exactly what you want to accomplish and making sure this team is good from October all the way to April and maybe June?
There's a lot of things that, as a coach, you want to implement and teach. The majority of our team is returning players. There are some players that are new additions, a handful of guys. But I feel that when you've got a group of guys and they're know what they're doing and they're really good at it, when you insert a player here and there, it's so much easier to learn the system, know what they're supposed to do on the ice, just because of everybody else is doing what they're supposed to do. It's easier for them to fall into line. Now, if you've got a bunch of guys who are running around and not sure playing the system properly, and then you add somebody new to that, well, it's pretty hard to learn. So I think the way we played last year, we've got that structure for new guys to come in. I don't think it's going to be too hard to pick up. So we'll see. That's what I'm saying. But I think, obviously they'll be teaching. There'll be some growing pains, but I think we'll be okay.
Last one for me. Sorry. Last one on the training camp. Of course, you have a lot of returning players, a lot of NHL veterans here. So, what's the challenge in making sure that every player here, regardless of where they're going to be in the middle of October, they get the most and they make the most of this opportunity of being here at the Oilers at training camp? What's the challenge there for the head coach?
Well, there's only so much a head coach can motivate these guys. You come to an NHL camp, whether it's your first or fifth or 15th, you want to make an impression. And, I think I've been very impressed with our veterans that were here on this team last year, obviously have a role on this team and aren't fighting for a spot per se, maybe up and down a little, line up a little bit. But, for our first day of camp, I've been so impressed with those returning players coming back and really setting the tempo of what our practice is and how our team plays. And I think everyone else just coming into camp, they want to make a good impression. I think for the most part, it's not these players wanting to make an impression, but maybe putting too much pressure on themselves, that you can tell the guys who have been their first camp or feel like this is their year that they really have to stand out, they're putting a little too much pressure on themselves, and just being able to relax those guys and be able to play their game.
How did you work with your guys to put plans in place for a shortened summer? The hockey players want to go and kill themselves to get ready, but your group probably couldn't necessarily do that the same way. So was the team pretty hands-on in terms of working with guys and figuring out plans that made sense for a shortened summer?
You're talking about the workout plans. Our strength team does an incredible job, led by Chad. That they are in touch with the players and communicating what they're doing, but also all these players also have their strength coach that they've had in the summer for numerous years, and they're just not somebody just that they trained with or that they found somebody off the street. They're educated. They've been working with hockey players for a long time, and they understand how much time they have and how much time they need to recover. So, between our training staff and their trainer for the summer, there's some communication and finding out what's best for the players.
You didn't want them back too soon?
No, I didn't. I wanted them to enjoy their summer. I think it was important that they got a break. And, I think it's important that they come about a week before, if not 2, but not any sooner than that. And I just feel that the season is so long. You're looking at about 8 months. Last year, I believe we played 125 games. And, we're not going to be winning a Stanley Cup in October or November. I think it's important that we get off to a good start and put ourselves in a position to win a division and start with home ice advantage and have as many home ice advantage series as possible. But, there's a fine line of going too hard too early. And certainly you want to go hard where you're ready for the regular season, but you've got to be cognizant that it is a long season.
Kris, do you expect Darnell Nurse to be ready to go for the start of the season?
I absolutely do. Yes, I think I haven't been able to talk to him today. I think he feels pretty good. I'm very confident that he'll play at least 2 exhibition games.
What about Lavoie? What does Lavoie have to show you after getting half a dozen games last year, but in a role where he's an offensive guy but didn't play a lot? What does he have to do in camp where he just shows the coach he's an NHL player?
Well, I think with any of the players, we're looking to assemble good hockey players and win hockey games. And we need to, be doing the little things well, whether that's Leon or Connor or Ekholm or, players that are just trying out for the team. That, we want to win hockey games. And, to get noticed, it's about doing the little things well all the time. So, we want players to contribute offensively. I think that's an important part of it. You just have to manage your mistakes. All players, no matter how good, where they are in the lineup, they're going to make mistakes. Young players are going to make mistakes. I think a player like Rafi Lavoie is, using his strengths. He is a strong hockey player, and very difficult to take the puck away from. So that's a great benefit. With his speed and being able to play physical, getting in the forecheck, you need that part of your game to add to the team. I think he's got a lot of attributes. Last year we didn't have many injuries, so we didn't have he didn't have much opportunity to play many games for us. But I think this year, me being my first training camp, will be a great opportunity to actually see him play regular minutes up and down the lineup and see really what he can do.
Kris, to go back to Darnell Nurse, seems like that position player who plays next to him is pretty important. What's your rationale behind giving Ty Emberson a shot there to start camp?
I don't know. I know Ty a little bit from the American League, and I know he had a great year last year, and I say great year, it was a very short year, about a third of a season, so it's difficult to say really how good it was, but I think there's a lot of promise with him, and I think the biggest thing with him is his skating ability. He's able to move around the ice really well, his mobility's good, and defensively responsible. But I think another one is for a young defender coming in the league is being able to move the puck well. How well does he move the puck? I think he did a pretty good job in the American League. From one of the video that I saw from him in San Jose, I thought he took another step. Hopefully he can continue to build off that. But I think the biggest thing is being able to, his defending. I think that's his biggest strength.
You mentioned puck moving. Is there a benefit to having a puck mover next to Darnell to let him maybe focus on the defensive side?
I think any defenseman benefits from having a player that can move the puck well. I think we have a lot of those. Like Troy Stetcher is a good puck mover. He can be able to do that. So there's another defenseman that could play in that position also. So I think it benefit Darnell playing with a good puck moving defenseman, but I think it benefits any partner.
What are maybe the complications or challenges of not having Darnell on the ice in terms of game action when you're trying to get him kind of paired up with somebody?
I think it's probably overrated how important it is, because during the regular season, let's just say Darnell's been playing with, let's say last year, Cody season majority of the year. Now Cody didn't get hurt, but he could have quite likely been hurt, and now to say the next guy that moves up in that position to play with Darnell, say in this position, now to say that Darnell's not going to have a good game because he doesn't have any chemistry with his defenseman, I think is a little bit ridiculous, because there should be some fluctuation. I think having a partner that you rely on, you can communicate, but whether somebody's not playing well or there's an injury, they got to adapt.